Well, we saw improvements against Oxford, but we still have a split fan base. Some fans are saying this, like Berto. Albion were the better side by some distance. Win and the moan fest continues. It's now getting really tiresome. Please shut up. Lovely Lee says, great, now you're going to keep him in a job longer. That mannequin up front now stays. We really didn't need this win. Where do you stand? It's getting tiresome, all this moaning. We've got Dan, Ben, Aaron and Dean back with us. We'll have to ban the moaning on here for a second. I hope you're well. 20 minutes of Pastures Green reviewing the last 7 days for West Brom. Dan, is the moaning getting tiresome for you?
Nah, come on, Mark. You know me by now. I love a moan. Look, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, he's won. He's won us the game, but there was still a lot of bad decisions, I think, from him. I think like, the lineup is playing Charlie Taylor at the centre half. When the lineup came out, I was confused as what formation we're playing here. Yeah, I think it's like 3 wing backs on. With Taylor, Gilchrist, and who's the other one? Styles. And I was like, what formation is he playing here? I mean, it was nice to see Madge starting again, but he looked so rusty. You could tell he'd been out for so long. Everything just bounced off him, and he didn't really make much of an impact, to be honest. But yeah, I can understand a lot of the fans' frustrations, even though we did win, because a lot of them wanted him out, and I think I am leaning now towards Mason out.
Ben, you were the only one on here last week who was absolutely no. You shouldn't get even get these games this week. So there's no point me asking you whether you've been one round or not. But is there anybody that you're seeing in these lists that you would replace him with? I mean, can I float this one at you? Valencia are about to sack Corbyn. People say never go back, but does that excite you?
No, I don't think I would, to be honest. I think the time he was always looking for his next job. It took him a while to get his next job, but like I say, we went back with Mowbray and that didn't turn out very well. So I'd be kind of pessimistic about reappointing Corbyn. I don't think it'll happen. I can see him at Borough or Southampton over us. I think he's got that kind of aspiration now, but. Yeah, I'm still very much. I still don't see Mason being in charge come Christmas. I think it papered over the cracks. I think Saturday, the first half was still very much of a muchness, boring, tedious, not much of a game plan. It took off scoring for us to wake up. We had 10 minutes of urgency and stuff, and then we scored 2 goals, which shows we've got the players to score goals. We just need the urgency, and it took Oxford scoring for us to play a bit more. I think a win's a win. You want to win a game, but the next couple he's got is Coventry away and Blues at home, and to see what we can do then will be a more telling test, I think.
Okay. We'll have a look at some more tweets from the game in a second, but also coming up this week, we're talking about the sacking season as well. Will we even get through these couple of weeks? Plus the Fair Play League as well. Just how dirty are West Brom this season? The answer might surprise you, so stay tuned for that. Plus the A to Z is continuing with the letter F this week. Who gets in for you? I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has subbed and commented on the channel. We really appreciate all your comments. We read every single one, of course. We're not like other YouTube channels which doesn't reply or read stuff, so thank you so much for everything you've done. We're trying to get to 500 this week, which would be amazing if we get to 500 subs, so do, if you've come across the channel before, please drop us a like there. Right then, Aaron, let's have a look at some more of these then. Baggy says, a win is a win, but that was a painful scrape past a side who are going to be playing League One football next season. Nothing about today convinces me we've changed much, as we will find out next against Coventry and Birmingham. And with these 2 local derbies, if you like, coming up, are you a little bit worried?
I mean, considering the form Coventry are in, I think anyone would be worried to play them. I mean, I think the beat teams comfortably, even going behind against Sheffield United. They come back to win, and that for me would have been really hard game for them to come back from. Sheffield United are a good side. Obviously, the league table doesn't reflect that, but they're still a good side in my opinion. I think we'll have to be a million times better than we've been this season if you want to get even a point against Coventry in the way they're playing. But looking back at obviously the weekend, it's often results like that and performances like that actually project a winning run. Obviously it wasn't the greatest performance, but 3 points is 3 points. We had our own slice of luck with the own goal, but then again we scored. I think Hegebo scored a really good goal, and it's very important for him to get that goal as well. I think he'll benefit from that greatly, and I think it'll only make us a better team if we can actually provide him with good balls into the box for him to head home and get goals, as many as he possibly can.
Dino, you were at the Valley on Tuesday night. We have to review every game, so I'm sorry I know you were just trying to try and forget the football element of it. Good trip to London, apart from the football?
As per usual, yeah. We caught the boat to the game down the Thames. Really good couple of days, except for the 90 minutes. Actually, we didn't play too bad, but I blame the manager completely. He messed about with the defence heading into injury time. The defence hadn't put a foot wrong all night. We were solid. They were terrible, Charlton were. And then all of a sudden, he tried to waste a bit of time, messed about with the defence, a couple of bad mistakes, and he cost us the game. They went for it, we didn't. Disappointing again.
We have to talk about Hegebo this week, don't we? Given that he got his goal. Matthew says absolutely buzzing for Hegebo. Finally got the goal he deserves. People that have slated him are fickle. How can a striker score a goal if he doesn't have a chance to score? One good cross and in the right place and bang, straight into the back of the net, up the Albion. Open question to all of you. Yeah, have we? Oops, sorry, I've got rid of you all. Have we been a bit harsh on Hegebo, or is the criticism justified?
No, I think the criticism's pretty spot on, to be honest. We're putting crosses into the box, but he's nowhere to be seen. He's like 10 yards behind, and I think this might have just been like in the right place at the right time, like finally for a change, because he's had chances to score, but he's been miles behind it.
Your thoughts?
What's he got against DK? I'm not his biggest fan, but he's not even coming on now. He occasionally gives him a minute or 2 minutes. At Charlton, we were crying out for somebody in the box to get on the end of things, and he didn't bring him on at all, as he didn't on Saturday. So don't know what he's done.
I think on Saturday we did put, especially in the second half, we did put more crosses into the box than what we have tended to have done. So I think that he's crying out for DK and Hegebo as well. I mean, I don't have Magic third choice behind Hegebo and DK now, because Magic's been awful the last 2 or 3 games. So I think it's definitely time to get DK a run out, definitely.
I agree. Look at all the corners we had.
Yeah.
Well into double figures, and we didn't do anything from any of them.
Purely
I remember the last time. What was that?
They're purely to be seething all them corners and we get nothing from it.
We'd be winning double figures, wouldn't we?
Would be.
Macaulay and Olsen on the end of it.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at a different one then. That was Matthew's. Ramon says, I'm hoping that Mason learned a valuable lesson today. That game hinged on moving styles into an inverted advanced role. It meant more runs from deep, but ultimately cost us a goal. We still won though. Mason gambled, and it paid off. Aaron, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, in my opinion, it begs the question whether playing a 3 or a 5 at the back would work, as we're using Styles as more of a left wing back than a left back. Because in his defence, he's obviously not that kind of, he's not a left back, and I think he much prefers being more advanced at the pitch. Not to say he can't do a shift there, because I think he's quite tenacious, which for someone of his size is very, it's important for his overall game to make up for where he loses out on height and other aspects like that. Like I said, I think it begs the question: why don't we use a back 3 more? I think we played that against Charlton, and like Dean said, we played better. It's just obviously we were just missing the goal. That's all it was. I mean, the performances getting slightly better, and it begs if the personnel isn't right at in the right places, because the substitutions we're making as well are a bit questionable. I mean, again, the Charlton game, why bring Meckham on with a minute to go, only for it to go completely wrong, when it would have been more sensible to bring on a second striker or replace a striker like for like, rather than replacing Bielik, who didn't put a foot wrong all game.
Yeah.
And then he dropped him.
Yeah, I was going to ask:
Yeah.
has he fallen out with Metham? Is he? I mean, we've highlighted that.
Apparently he's on 5 yellow cards and he doesn't want to lose him, but that doesn't make sense to me.
International break now.
Yeah, I thought they'd
so-
always been dropped, but it's not really make sense.
Okay. I've seen the Baggies fans say, Dan, that Southampton, Norwich, and now Middlesbrough, of course, are all looking for managers. So it feels a little bit like the Oxford result has resulted in you perhaps not being part of that pot now. That you're going to be left with a smaller group of managers to choose from when the eventuality does happen in a couple of weeks' time after the Birmingham game, as you said. Do you buy that now might be the time to jump before you're left with a weaker pot to choose from?
To be honest, I can't really think of anyone at the top of my head that we'd replace Mason with. I mean, I seen earlier on X that Norwich are sniffing around Steve Bruce, God help him. But there's no one really I can think of that would be a good fit. I mean, maybe we can go after that Raphael Wiki again. Hopefully, get that across the line and sort his
Don't get Aaron
maintenance around.
started. We've got a 5-minute Aaron rant back on Wiki somewhere. We can listen to.
Yeah, just
Okay.
there's no one really I can think of, to be honest.
Okay. Would you have Corbyn back, though?
Nah, we took that gamble with Mowbray. It's never good the second time round. You never get back with an X there.
Okay. All right.
I would. Not yet.
Yeah.
Or Brandis.
I was going to say. So I'm sure your fiance's listening. Dan, sorry, not Dan. Dean, would you take him back?
No, I wouldn't. He got us organised, but in the end, the football wasn't good at all. I think he did what he did, and he did it well. But in the end, the crowd were turning, and it wasn't good. So no, I wouldn't have him back.
Okay. Let us know in the comments if you've got a name out there which you would be excited by. I mean, we've read them out to the Norwich fans. They include Gary O'Neill and Brendan Rodgers and the usual crowd. So yeah, I get what you're saying. But none of them are pretty excited. Maybe stick with what you've got. Hey, right. Letter F is the A to Z this week. We're talking about the Fair Play League. In recognition of that, where do you think you sit, Dean, in the list of dirty to good?
I would say we're fairly low down. Malumbi's been out for a few weeks. he's normally our yellow card specialist. Moe picks up one or two, but we're not a dirty team. We ought to be a little bit more ruthless, to be honest.
Yeah, you are the 4th nicest side, and you have the 3rd lowest yellow cards of just 20. There's only 2 teams that have got less than you. Does that surprise you, Aaron? Do you think you are lacking a bit of bite?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, like Dean said, Malum's been out, and he's usually the one who's always, got a bit of fight in him, and sometimes it goes a step too far and he's booked. But I don't know. I think sometimes you can look at that and say, well, if you're not being booked, then you're not pushing the line close enough to the edge. You know what I mean? Where you're not having enough desire to win the ball. Sometimes you get a bit overheated. You can accept fouls like that most of the time. I mean, it's just silly fouls that you don't want to have, and I think we've kind of toned that down as well, which is good. But you can look at it from both aspects. I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good that we're not getting booked because it means we're not getting fined, which means we've got more money to spend in January. But at the same time, you can sort of say that you're not really pushing the game as much as you should in your own favour.
Okay. Ben, have you seen a more of a powder puff Baggies?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, Furlong got his fair share, I think, didn't he, last season, so he's not with us anymore. Malumbi's been out. They haven't really got, I think Dean said it before, we lack that kind of leader in the middle who's going to kind of crunch into every tackle, apart from Malumbi. We haven't really got him in there to do that sort of stuff. And I think it's a type of football Mason wants to see if he's got an idea in his head anyway. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see a kind of blood and guts start from him anyway.
Okay. Right, Brill. Before we do our A to Z, thank you for all the suggestions we had for the letter E last week. They're all pretty amazing. Can you help us out with the letter F this week? If you're new to this, then it's one player or one event or one stadium per letter of the alphabet, which would best represent the A to Z of the history of this club. Dan, we can't put you in, unfortunately, even though you are a legend. You're a legend to us anyway.
Thank you.
Who would you put in for F, or what would you put in for F?
All week I've been thinking about this, and the only one I can really think of, and I'm sure the rest of the lads will agree with me on this, is Foster.
Yeah.
He was just an absolute outstanding goalkeeper and such a nice bloke as well. But his podcast ain't bad either, but yeah, he's Ben Foster.
Okay. Ben?
Yeah, he's the one that kind of top of my list straight away. Probably the best goalkeeper I've seen at West Brom in my lifetime. Consistency, 7-8 years in the Premier League. Can't really recall too many mistakes.
Okay.
So I think it's got to be him, hasn't it?
Okay. Aaron? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what the lads have just said. I think it is Foster. But to throw another name in the hat, you can say Fortuny.
Yeah, that's another one.
Okay. Right, this is where Dean's been sat quietly now. He's going to list off 1960s and 70s. All the players that deserve to get in ahead of Foster. Go on, Dino.
No, nobody gets ahead of him, I'm afraid. There was Ken Fargo many years ago. Right, Fairfax. But no, I'll stick with Ben Foster. The best goalkeeper I've seen at the Albion, in fairness, in my lifetime.
Okay.
So, apart from his mistake at Villa once, which I'll still never forgive him for, but yeah.
Well, it was Birmingham City last week put in the Villa goalkeeper. Oh, God, his name goes on.
Peter Enkelman.
Enkelman went in there. They put Enkelman in for that E. Just bitter lot. Yeah. No FA Cup could have gone for F. No.
68.
No, maybe. Okay.
Stick with Foster.
Stick with Foster. Right. Let us know in the comments if they've missed any. Cheers for this. Right. I'll give you a week off from talking about baggies then next week. Join us in 2 weeks' time as we look back, of course, at the next game as we, of course, away to Coventry City, having spent all that money to get there. Hopefully it'll be worth it. We'll check in with you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.